The year is 1891, and Prince Ferdinand of Bulgaria has just made a terrifying addition to his art collection. An image which shows Lucifer, a painting said to have been so terrifying that these piercing eyes forced people to make crosses before it every time they stepped into the room with this piece of work. This was made by Franz von Stuck in 1890, and this is an image which comes from the Symbolist movement. I want to talk to you about this painting tonight as it is absolutely terrifying, not necessarily for any hidden meanings behind it, but simply for how striking of a piece of work this is, and how emotive it therefore becomes. We'll be speaking about this and the time it was created and over tonight's video. If you do enjoy, please make sure to subscribe. Now, as I say, going into the history of this painting and this movement, this was created in 1890 by Franz von Stuck, and this comes from the Symbolist era of art. Many images of this time and style focus on the search of the inner self. They show human struggles on a personal and societal level. Themes from many of von Stuck's other pieces of work remain symbolic even to this day, with themes which are still relatable. But despite the meaning and the passion and the skill behind his artwork, he died in relative obscurity and was mainly remembered for being an art teacher in Munich. In my opinion, it's only in the modern day that we understand how deep these paintings are. And even nearly 100 years or more later, this remains absolutely iconic. Out of all of von Stuck's work, Lucifer is definitely the most disturbing. The naked man, Lucifer, is staring towards us with a piercing glaze on his face. His hand is facing behind him, arguably touching his wing, which we can see over here. Overall, there are many messages that we can take away from this in and of itself. We also can see his face plotting towards us, and again this piercing stare, these eyeballs which simply cut through the screen that you're looking at this on. And again his hand is being supported by his face. Is he plotting something? Again, this image is mainly striking in my opinion because of how shocking of an image it is and how emotive it is. Every time I look at this I feel something. I feel like this is one of those paintings that you can't help but feel something when you look at it. But we also see a few meanings within it. We can see Lucifer, as I say, sat with his hand on his wing, reaching behind him. The look on his face is a terrifying one. Not necessarily very emotional, but certainly very focused. We can see him in a deep phase of contemplation, looking at perhaps what was. And towards the left-hand side of the screen, we see this light source. Is this arguably him remembering or reaching away from what he once was? You know, a source of light. Is it a potential chance of redemption? And again, remembering that this comes from the Symbolist era, whilst there is going to be some meaning behind this, and whilst the actual design, the actual painting itself is the most striking part, is there something about human nature in this? Could the light source potentially be one last sign of what was for Lucifer? How he once lived, what he once did, and now he's cast into obscure darkness. Could this be one last remaining chance? And could this be Lucifer perhaps gravitating towards it with his arm moving in this direction? Or could it be what once was the happiness, the experience, and now he doesn't want to touch the light? He's looking away from it. The face, drawing back to this part of the image, is one of deep, deep peril. Looking at this, even now, over 100 years later, you can't help but feel something. The eyes, the stare, the emotionless face. Is this somebody plotting their revenge? Somebody staring deep into your soul? This is an image with many layers of depth to it. And whilst the tones of this piece are overall quite dark, I think this is a piece of art which carries an immense amount of meaning. I wanted to bring this one to you because it really struck me when looking through it. But I'd love to hear your interpretations on it. Only a short video tonight. Thank you for your time, guys. Goodbye for now.